From the quiet whisper in the heart to the solemn vows at the altar, the journey to becoming a priest is one of deep commitment, sacrifice, and grace. It is not a simple decision, nor a quick process. It's a life-altering path that begins with discernment and culminates in priestly ordination. But it's the steps in between, the years of formation and preparation, that truly transform a man into a servant of God. To understand the process of becoming a priest, we must first walk through the phases of discernment, seminary life, the diaconate, and the priesthood itself. But the most transformative stage is often found in the seminary. Let's begin there, step by step, and discover the depth of what it takes to enter the priesthood. Before any formal training begins, there is a profound internal struggle, the process of discernment. Discernment is the journey of recognizing God's call in one's life. It is a time of deep prayer and self-reflection when a man asks, "Is this the path God is calling me to walk?" For many, this period involves retreats, spiritual direction, and conversations with priests and mentors. It's about listening to the silence, to God's voice, and to one's heart. Some feel the call strongly. Others are unsure, and this process of prayer and reflection is designed to help them discover whether they are truly called to the priesthood, or if another vocation is their purpose. This discernment process can take months or even years, and while it may be fraught with uncertainty, it is necessary. The question isn't whether or not they're worthy. It's about whether they are open to God's will and ready to live a life of service, sacrifice, and dedication. Once a man has discerned that God is indeed calling him to the priesthood, the next step is seminary, a rigorous and transformative phase of intellectual, spiritual, and pastoral formation. Seminary life is not just about learning theology. It's about becoming the person God calls you to be and being equipped to serve the people of God. Seminary typically lasts for about 6 to 8 years, depending on the individual's background. Those entering seminary usually begin with philosophy studies, even if they have a degree in theology. Why philosophy? Because it shapes their mind and helps them understand human nature, ethics, and reasoning, skills essential for any priest who will be guiding souls. Philosophy forms the foundation of theological study. It strengthens critical thinking and builds the intellectual framework that seminarians will later use to understand and teach the Christian faith. During the first years, seminarians immerse themselves in deep intellectual work, philosophy, ancient texts, and ethics. But the learning isn't just confined to the classroom. Seminarians engage in their formation through daily mass, prayer, and community life. Spiritual formation is at the core of seminary life. Seminarians are encouraged to grow deeply in their relationship with God, forming the habits of prayer, reflection, and humility that will sustain them through their priesthood. Their days are punctuated by regular prayer, mass, and spiritual exercises. Daily prayer and retreat experiences allow seminarians to continue discerning their call, deepening their spiritual life, and becoming more attuned to God's voice. The seminary is a place for intellectual growth, but more importantly, it is a crucible for spiritual transformation. But seminary formation doesn't stop at academics or spirituality. Pastoral formation is equally important. Seminarians begin to serve in parishes, hospitals, and social outreach programs, learning what it means to be a servant leader. They are mentored by experienced priests and learn how to care for souls in the real world. In these real-world settings, seminarians begin to understand the day-to-day responsibilities of priesthood, providing counsel, offering comfort, and walking with people through their struggles. This is the crucible where seminarians transform from students into priests who are able to lead and care for a flock. After completing their years of formation, the next step is the diaconate. Becoming a deacon is an essential part of priestly ordination. It's not a stepping stone. It is a calling in itself. As a deacon, a man commits to a life of service, to preach the word, and to administer the sacraments. As a deacon, a man serves the church in a new way. He helps with baptisms, marriages, funerals, and, importantly, he assists during the celebration of the Eucharist. It is a time for a deeper immersion in service, and it marks the final stage before becoming a priest. Though a deacon is not yet a priest, he has already taken on many priestly responsibilities. He now lives his life as a representative of the church in his community, embodying the ideals of service and sacrifice that will be required of him as a priest. Finally, the day arrives, the day of ordination to the priesthood. This moment, after years of formation, discernment, and service, marks the fulfillment of God's call. The seminarian, now a deacon, is fully ordained as a priest and receives the power to celebrate Mass, forgive sins, and perform the sacraments. It is a sacred moment, one of the most important in the life of the Church. When a man is ordained a priest, he is empowered to act in the person of Christ, in persona Christi. This is not merely a title or position. It is a profound union with Christ's own ministry of love, healing, and sacrifice. A priest's life is one of service, dedicated to the sacraments, to the care of souls, and to a life of sacrifice. It is a lifelong commitment to walk with God's people, to guide them in faith, and to lead them with humility and love. The journey to becoming a priest is long, challenging, and transformative. It begins with a whisper, a calling deep in the heart, and it ends with a man who has dedicated his life to Christ, to service, and to the people of God. It is a journey of faith, sacrifice, and love. And it is only just the beginning.